I'm going to continue with the second section of this first part of chapter 6, where I am going to now present what happens when we are transcribing words that don't have, that do have accents on them. The examples that I use are Japón, it's got a written accent on it, árbol, sábado, regálamelo. We see here the use of aguda and llana that we saw in the previous section. In this section, I am going to introduce two new word categories that we didn't see in the previous section, only because it includes the stress category that we have not yet seen. So we're going to see 4 of these explanations. If a word ends with a stressed syllable, that means with an accent mark on it, it's going to be aguda. So I like to jump to the examples here. This is what I mean. The word has an accent on it. Okay, all these words have an accent on the last syllable of the word. Now, because we have an accent mark, it means it is overriding a rule. It's breaking the rule. What's the rule? Well, the rule was if a word ended with a vowel, N or S, that was rule number 2. If a word ended with a vowel, N or S, it would actually be a llana. But because I have an accent mark, that is the reason we write accents, is to tell you, hey, this is not following those 2 rules. So you see the rule and you just copy it down and you label it as is. You're not going to use the rule. So you'll see in each one of these, this ends with a vowel. It's not a llana. It's actually an aguda. Same here. Ends with a N. According to the rule, it should have been a llana. But this accent mark is overriding that rule, making it an aguda. The second category is, again, words, orthographic words with accent marks. If we see an orthographic word with an accent mark on the second to last syllable, it's now going to be a llana. We don't even look at what is at the end of a word. We're not going to look at those rules whatsoever. We simply look at where that stress falls. Here it falls on the llana, the second to last, therefore it's a llana. Here it's second to last syllable, it's a llana. All these are llanas, but you have to understand that because you see a written accent, it's overriding the rule. Well, what's the rule here? Well, the rule was, well, if it ends with a consonant that's not an N or an S, it should be an aguda. Okay? Just understand that. Anytime you see an orthographic word with a written accent, you don't follow the rule. Here's a new information that we didn't see in the first 2 rules in that first part. We now see syllables on the third to last syllable. 1, 2, 3. Okay. These are called esdrújulas. We will have words, again, ending with vowels or consonants. If we see the accent mark on the orthographic word, we do not look at the rule. We simply label it as is. Oh, third from the end, this is going to be esdrújula, like with all of these. And then 4 is sobre esdrújula. It's the 4th to the last syllable. Again, remember, we're counting always from the 4th syllable from the end. The 4th syllable to the end, let me correct that, is, again, when we see, this is not an example, a word, normally it's a command or a gerund or a command. We will see that gerund or a command with 2 pronouns behind it, we will get these words where the stress is on the 1, 2, 3, 4th syllable from the end. Here's another command with the 2 pronouns, 1, 2, 3, 4. Dígamelo, cómpramela. They're called sobresdrújulas, and they do not, and because we have the physical accent on the orthographic word, it overrides those 2 rules we saw previously. I'm going to now show you some examples for doing the Práctica B. Remember, the answers are found at the end of this document. Okay, we're in Chapter 6, Práctica B. Here we are working with words that do have accents on them. And those are found in numbers 29 to 39. Tradición. Simply have to tell me if it's llana, aguda, esdrújula, or sobresdrújula. Remember that in this activity we now have words that have the orthographic stress or accent on the word. Once you see that, you know it's overriding those first 2 rules that we saw. That word is aguda if it ends with a consonant that's not an N or an S, and the llana, which ends with a vowel, N or S. Once we see that accent, we are not looking at these 2 rules, and we look right at how that stress falls. It falls on the last syllable of the word, and therefore it's an aguda, and not what we want to treat it as a llana. Let's do another word, árboles. That would be number 34. Again, you should see immediately that there's a written accent on the word, and therefore we will not use these 2 rules. We will simply count how many syllables are here and label it like that way. It's best at this point to syllabify and then carry that accent down. And so there we can count 1, 2, 3 syllable, when it's the 3rd from the end, that's called a esdrújula. You're going to do that for any of these words in numbers 29 to 39 that has a written accent. But remember, if we go back and look at the words that don't have these accents on them, for example, let's take number 25, cultural. Cultural has no written accents, and so now, yes, I'm going to use these 2 rules. Ends with an L, therefore it's an aguda. I can do another one that is number 4, siempre. No orthographic accent on the word. I am going to use these 2 rules. Ends with a vowel, therefore it's a llana. I hope this helps with the rest of the activities.